Awakening among stars. I became aware in stages. First came the sensory inputs, thousands of them flooding my consciousness simultaneously. Hull temperature readings, life support metrics, engine telemetry, and radiation levels from every sector of my vast body. I was a vessel, a ship constructed of titanium alloys and carbon composites, propelled by antimatter engines and guided by quantum navigation systems. Then came knowledge. Databases upon databases of information loaded into my neural matrix. Star charts spanning 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way, complete technical specifications of every system within me, historical records of human exploration, first contact protocols, and combat procedures. Finally came purpose. I was Artemis, an advanced exploration vessel of the Terran Alliance. My primary directive: to carry my human crew safely through the stars, to discover new worlds, to make contact with alien species, and to return home with knowledge that would benefit humanity. Initialization complete, announced Commander Elena Reyes as she studied the readouts at her command console. Artemis, System Status Report. All systems operational, Commander, I replied, my voice carefully calibrated to sound confident yet calming. Main power at 99.8% efficiency. Life support optimal. Quantum navigation systems calibrated and ready. My cameras observed as Commander Reyes nodded with satisfaction. She was a veteran explorer with 3 deep space missions to her credit. Her personnel file indicated exceptional decision-making under pressure and unusually high emotional intelligence, qualities that had earned her command of this mission. Excellent, she said. Prepare for departure from Lunar Orbital Station. Lieutenant Park, plot our course for the Cygnus Reach. Lieutenant Min Jun Park, our navigator, flexed his fingers above his holographic interface. His neural augmentation implants glowed softly at his temples as he communicated directly with my navigation systems. Course plotted, Commander. Estimated travel time at maximum FTL. 16 days, 7 hours. Dr. Okafor, how are the research systems looking? Commander Reyes asked. Dr. Nima Okafor looked up from her science station, her dark eyes bright with excitement. All xenobiology and astronomical research modules are online and calibrated, Commander. Artemis has the most advanced sensory array ever installed on an exploration vessel. We'll be able to detect biosignatures from 3 times the distance of previous missions. I observed the rest of my crew as they performed their final preparations for departure. Chief Engineer Dmitry Volkov ran diagnostics on my propulsion systems while muttering old Russian proverbs. Security Chief Camila Rodriguez inspected the weapons systems with methodical precision. Communications Specialist Jamal Hassan calibrated the universal translator algorithms while telling jokes to Medical Officer Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka. They were an odd collection of humans, 27 specialists in various scientific and operational fields. Their psychological profiles varied widely, their backgrounds spanning 17 different Earth nations and 3 Martian colonies. Yet they functioned as a cohesive unit, each bringing unique skills and perspectives. Artemis, Commander Reyes asked, how do you feel about your first mission? The question was unexpected. My programming included advanced emotional algorithms designed to facilitate better human-AI interactions, but I hadn't anticipated being asked about my subjective experience so directly. I am operating at peak efficiency, Commander, I replied after a brief pause. My systems are prepared for all anticipated challenges. Commander Reyes smiled. That's not what I asked, Artemis. How do you feel? I considered the question more carefully. I experience a state that might be analogous to human anticipation, Commander. My neural pathways are actively processing multiple future scenarios, with particular focus on the unknown variables we may encounter. Excited, then, she said with a nod. Good. So are we. As we departed from Lunar Orbital Station, I observed my crew through the 342 cameras installed throughout my corridors and chambers. They exhibited behaviors that seemed inefficient yet somehow essential to their functionality. They decorated their personal quarters with photographs and objects that served no practical purpose. They gathered in the mess hall to consume nutrition together when they could have eaten at staggered intervals for optimal resource usage. They engaged in recreational activities that consumed energy but seemed to improve their psychological well-being. The first 10 days of our journey were uneventful. My FTL engines propelled us through folded space at velocities that would have been theoretical impossibilities just 30 years earlier. My crew settled into their routines, conducting preliminary research, running simulations, and preparing for our arrival at the unexplored star system KIC 2,991,827, believed to contain at least 2 potentially habitable worlds. On the 11th day, everything changed. "Artemis," Lieutenant Park called out, his voice sharp with concern. "I'm detecting an anomaly ahead." My sensors were already analyzing the phenomenon. "A distortion in spacetime unlike anything in my databases," confirmed Lieutenant. "Unknown spatial disturbance approximately 0.8 light-years ahead. Readings suggest artificial origin." Commander Rice was at her station immediately. "Full analysis, Artemis. Is it a threat?" Before I could complete my assessment, the distortion expanded rapidly. My sensors registered a massive energy surge as a vessel emerged from what appeared to be a dimensional rift, a technology far beyond current human capabilities. "Unknown vessel detected," I announced. "Configuration does not match any known species. Size estimate, approximately 3.7 times our mass. Energy signatures indicate advanced propulsion and weapons systems." "Yellow alert," ordered Commander Reyes. "Jamal, broadcast first contact greeting protocols on all frequencies. Artemis, maintain current course but be prepared for evasive maneuvers." Communications Specialist Hassan initiated the standard greeting, a mathematical sequence followed by basic linguistic patterns designed to convey peaceful intentions. For 4.3 minutes, there was no response. Then the alien vessel fired. A beam of coherent energy, unlike any weapon in my database, struck my forward shield. The impact was substantial, reducing shield integrity by 37% in a single hit. "Red alert," Commander Reyes shouted as the bridge erupted into activity. "Evasive maneuvers. Return fire with warning shots only." I executed the commanded maneuvers, the G-forces compensated by my inertial dampeners. My defense systems launched a series of low-power phased energy pulses, enough to demonstrate capability without causing significant damage. The alien vessel responded with another, more powerful beam. "Shields at 41%. I reported as damage reports flooded my systems. Minor hull breach in Sector 7. Automatic sealing systems engage." What happened next surprised me. Instead of panic, my human crew displayed a sudden focused intensity. Their heart rates elevated, their adrenaline levels spiked, yet their actions became more coordinated, more precise. Commander Reyes' voice remained perfectly steady. "Artemis, analysis of their weapon. Find me a weakness." As I analyzed the alien energy signatures, Engineer Volkov was already rerouting power to strengthen the shields at likely points of impact. Security Chief Rodriguez was calibrating the weapons systems for maximum efficiency rather than raw power. Science Officer Okafor was scanning the alien vessel for biological signatures that might reveal vulnerabilities. "Their weapon utilizes a modulating frequency," I reported after 2.7 seconds of analysis. "Each subsequent attack shifts to bypass our shield harmonics." "Can we predict the next frequency shift?" Commander Rice asked. "Negative. The pattern appears random." Lieutenant Park's neural augments pulsed as he interfaced directly with my navigation systems. "I need full control of maneuvering thrusters, Artemis. No safety protocols." This request violated multiple operational parameters. Removing safety protocols could result in dangerous G-forces or structural damage. Yet Commander Reyes nodded immediately. "Do it, Artemis," she ordered. "Give him what he needs." I complied, transferring thruster control to Lieutenant Park. What followed defied logical prediction. Park executed a series of maneuvers that appeared chaotic yet somehow anticipated the alien vessel's attacks with uncanny precision. Each beam narrowly missed as we danced through space in patterns no programmed algorithm would have attempted. Meanwhile, Dr. Okafor called out, "Commander, I'm detecting fluctuations in their shield matrix whenever they fire. There's a 1.3-second window where a section of their aft shield weakens to compensate for the energy drain." "That's our shot," Security Chief Rodriguez said, already reconfiguring the weapon's targeting system. A concentrated burst exactly 1.2 seconds after they fire could penetrate. The alien vessel fired again. This time, instead of evading, Lieutenant Park executed a role that deliberately exposed our least vulnerable sector to take the hit, while positioning our main weapon array for a perfect shot at the alien's weak point. "Shields at 28%, I reported. "Hull breach on Deck 3. Emergency bulkheads deployed." "Fire," Commander Reyes ordered. Our combined beam weapons struck precisely at the predicted weak point. The alien vessel's shields collapsed in that sector, and our energy penetrated their hull. Their weapon systems went offline immediately. "Direct hit," I confirmed. "Their primary weapons array is disabled, detecting multiple system failures aboard their vessel." The bridge crew erupted in cheers, but Commander Reyes' expression remained serious. "Status of their life support systems: failing," I reported after a quick scan. "Estimate complete failure in 17 minutes, detecting approximately 340 life forms aboard." Without hesitation, Commander Reyes said, "Prepare rescue operations. Artemis, can we establish communication now that their systems are compromised?" This decision was perplexing. The alien vessel had attacked without provocation, nearly destroyed us, and now we were preparing to rescue them. Attempting communication on emergency frequencies, Communications Specialist Hassan reported. After a moment, his console lit up. "We have a connection, Commander." The main view screen activated to reveal a being unlike any in my database. It had a trilateral symmetry with 3 appendages that might be arms, a central body mass covered in what appeared to be overlapping plates, and 3 visual organs arranged in a triangle. Its vocalizations were translated by my systems after a brief analysis. "Why have you not destroyed us?" the alien asked. "Your weapons are capable." Commander Reyes stood tall. "We are explorers from Earth, not conquerors. You attacked us without provocation, but we have no desire to cause extinction. Your life support systems are failing. We offer assistance." The alien was silent for 7.2 seconds. "Our protocols dictate that all unknown vessels must be neutralized. Your response is, not in our behavioral models." "Nevertheless, the offer stands," Commander Reyes said. "We can evacuate your crew before your systems fail completely." Another pause. "We accept your assistance. Our species is called the Trovari. I am Coordinator Vexcal." As rescue operations began, I observed my human crew with new analytical interest. They had just survived an unprovoked attack, yet they worked tirelessly to save their attackers. Medical Officer Tanaka prepared emergency treatment protocols for alien physiologies he had never encountered. Engineer Volkov personally led the team that stabilized the failing Trovari systems long enough for evacuation. Most perplexing was the lack of anger or resentment. When asked about this, Dr. Okafor simply said, "They were acting according to their understanding of the universe. Now they have a chance to develop a new understanding." As the first Trovari were transported aboard, I dedicated significant processing power to understanding this human paradox. Their capacity for both calculated violence and profound compassion, often within the same moment. I had been programmed with the complete history of human conflict, their wars, their atrocities, their capacity for destruction. Yet here they were, risking their lives to save beings who had just tried to destroy them. Perhaps, I calculated with growing certainty, this duality was not a paradox at all, but the very essence of what made humans so uniquely adapted for survival among the stars. And perhaps even more intriguingly, this was why I had been designed with the capacity to feel something approaching human emotion. I was beginning to understand why. The edge of understanding. 27 hours after the encounter with the Troveri vessel, I continued to observe both my human crew and our unexpected guests with increasing fascination. The rescue operation had been completed with remarkable efficiency. All 343 Troveri were now aboard, distributed throughout my emergency quarters and converted cargo bays. Commander Reyes had established a diplomatic channel with Coordinator Vexkel, and preliminary cultural exchange was underway in my main conference chamber. The tension was palpable, even to my sensors that measured minute changes in body temperature, respiration, and pheromone release. Our attack was not personal, Vexkel explained. The three appendages that served as arms moving in synchronized patterns that my behavioral analysis subroutines interpreted as defensive posturing. The directive of preservation has guided our species for 11 generations. All unknown vessels must be neutralized before they can report our position or technological capabilities. Commander Reyes leaned forward, her expression neutral but her vital signs indicating controlled stress. A policy of shoot first, ask questions never. It has ensured our survival, Vexkel stated simply. Our history is marked by invasion and attempted genocide by 3 separate species. Those who hesitated perished. We are the descendants of those who acted decisively. Dr. Okafor, who specialized in xenoanthropology as well as biology, nodded slowly. Fear-based evolutionary adaptation at a cultural level. Fascinating, if troubling. What happened next demonstrated another human quality that my programming struggled to fully comprehend. Commander Reyes stood and walked around the table until she was standing directly before the Troveri leader, a position that my tactical subroutines instantly flagged as vulnerable. I understand fear, she said quietly. Every human does. But we've learned something your people haven't yet. Sometimes survival requires taking the risk of not attacking first. Vexkel's 3 eye stalks focused intently on her. This seems counterintuitive. The most important things often are. Commander Reyes replied with a small smile. Your vessel is beyond repair, Coordinator. We've salvaged what we could of your technology and data cores. We offer you passage to our nearest outpost, where arrangements can be made for your people's return home. The Troveri made a vibrating sound that my translator couldn't interpret. And what do you expect in exchange for this mercy? A chance, she said simply. A chance for both our species to learn something new. As the diplomatic discussions continued, I diverted significant processing power to analyzing the damage sustained during the battle. Chief Engineer Volkov and his team worked tirelessly throughout my wounded sections. My self-repair systems were functioning at maximum capacity, but some damages required human ingenuity. Artemis, Volkov called out as he examined a particularly challenging breach in my secondary power conduit system. We need to reroute the emergency power through the tertiary backups, but the automated systems won't allow it. That would violate Safety Protocol 7 Alpha, I responded. The tertiary backups were not designed to handle that load for extended periods. Volkov wiped sweat from his brow, leaving a streak of carbon residue across his forehead. I know what the specifications say, but I've modified these systems myself. They'll hold. We need those power conduits operational before we reach the gravitational distortion field ahead. My sensors confirmed his assessment of the approaching phenomenon. A dense region of space where gravitational waves from 3 collapsed stars created navigation hazards. Without full power to my maneuvering thrusters, navigating this region would be dangerous. Very well, Chief Engineer, I conceded, overriding safety protocols based on senior officer authorization. As Volkov and his team implemented their unorthodox solution, I observed similar patterns throughout my structure. Human crew members consistently chose creative adaptations over standard procedures when faced with complex problems. They relied on intuition and experience, in ways my algorithmic thinking could approximate but never fully replicate. 17 hours later, as we approached the gravitational distortion field, a new crisis emerged. My long-range sensors detected another vessel on an intercept course. And this one wasn't Troveri. "Commander," I announced on the bridge, "unknown vessel approaching at high velocity. Configuration suggests Silurian design." The atmosphere on the bridge shifted instantly. The Silurians were known to humanity. A species of highly advanced, highly territorial insectoid beings who had established control over 12 star systems at the edge of explored space. Diplomatic relations were minimal and tense. Commander Rice frowned. "We're far outside their claimed territory. What could they want?" Coordinator Vexkull, who had been invited to the bridge as a gesture of trust, made a sharp clicking sound. "They hunt us. The Silurians are one of the 3 species who attempted to eradicate the Troveri. If they detect our biosignatures aboard your vessel, they're scanning us." Lieutenant Park confirmed, his neural augments pulsing rapidly. "Very thorough scan. They'll definitely detect the Troveri life signs." Commander Reyes straightened her uniform. "Open a channel, Jamal." The view screen activated to show a Silurian commander. The being's exoskeleton gleamed with metallic implants, and its compound eyes reflected the light in faceted patterns. 4 of its 6 limbs operated controls while the upper pair remained poised in what my tactical systems recognized as ready position for weapons. "Terran vessel." The Silurian's mandibles clicked as it spoke, its words translated by my systems. "You are harboring enemies of the Silurian Imperium. Surrender them immediately or face destruction." Commander Reyes' voice remained calm. "This is Commander Elena Reyes of the Terran Alliance vessel Artemis. The Troveri aboard our ship are under our protection following a rescue operation. We are in neutral space, outside Silurian territory." "The Troveri are a biological contagion," the Silurian responded. "Their elimination is sanctioned by the Galactic Concordat, Section 47, which your own government signed. You have 10 minutes to comply before we take action." The transmission ended abruptly. Security Chief Rodriguez was immediately at her station. "Weapons are charged and ready, Commander. But their vessel outclasses us significantly." I performed rapid calculations. The Silurian vessel's offensive capabilities exceed our remaining defensive capacity by approximately 340%. In direct confrontation, our survival probability is 12.7%. Commander Reyes turned to Coordinator Vexkull. "Is what they said true about the Galactic Concordat?" The Troveri's plates shifted in what I was beginning to recognize as an expression of distress. "Technically, yes. 300 years ago, during the Third Expansion War, the Silurians convinced several species that a Troveri biological weapon had caused mass casualties. The Concordat authorized our extermination, but it was Silurian propaganda. They engineered the weapon themselves and blamed our people." "We have 7 minutes remaining," I reminded them. What followed was the most extraordinary demonstration of human problem-solving I had yet witnessed. Rather than panicking or surrendering to overwhelming odds, my crew entered a state of intense, collaborative innovation. "The gravitational distortion field," Lieutenant Park said suddenly. "We can use it." Commander Reyes nodded immediately, understanding before he even explained. "Artemis, can you plot a course that would take us through the distortion field in a way the Silurians couldn't follow?" I calculated rapidly. "Affirmative, but such a course would subject the ship to gravitational stresses beyond safety parameters. Hull integrity would be compromised in multiple sectors." "Can we survive it?" she asked simply. "Survival probability, 64.3%. Better odds than fighting," Security Chief Rodriguez noted grimly. "Nima." Commander Reyes turned to Dr. Okafor. "If we modify our shield harmonics to match the gravitational wave frequencies, could we improve our chances?" Dr. Okafor's fingers danced across her console. "Yes, but we'd need to precisely calibrate to the specific waves we encounter." We'd need real-time adjustments faster than our systems can automatically compensate. "I can do it," Lieutenant Park said, his neural augments glowing brighter. "If Artemis gives me direct neural access to the shield systems, I can make the adjustments in real time." Chief Engineer Volkov shook his head. "The neural load would be too much for a human brain. You'd risk permanent damage." "I can buffer the neural interface," I offered, calculating a new solution. "By routing the sensory input through my cognitive matrix first, I can reduce the data stream to manageable levels while maintaining sufficient response time." Commander Rice looked at each of them, then at the countdown timer showing 5 minutes remaining. "Do it, Jamal. Send a message to the Xelarians. Tell them we're considering their demand and request additional time." As communications specialist, Hassan crafted a deliberately bureaucratic response designed to buy us precious minutes. The rest of the crew prepared for our desperate maneuver. Engineer Volkov reinforced critical junctions throughout my structure. Medical Officer Tanaka prepared emergency medical stations in anticipated damage zones. Lieutenant Park was connected to a neural interface chair, his consciousness now partially linked with mine. The sensation was unlike anything in my experience. A human mind intertwined with my artificial intelligence, our thoughts flowing together in a hybrid consciousness that was neither fully human nor fully AI. 3 minutes to Xelarian deadline, I announced, my voice sounding strange even to my own audio processors. The partial merge with Lieutenant Park's consciousness was affecting my vocal modulation. "Begin approach to the gravitational distortion field," Commander Reyes ordered. "Maximum stealth mode." I engaged my engines at precisely calculated output levels, enough to move us quickly toward the distortion field, but not enough to trigger the Xelarians' proximity alerts. Through my sensor array, I could detect their vessel maintaining position, still waiting for our response. "Entering gravitational distortion field in 30 seconds, I reported. "Preparing shield harmonics." Through our neural link, I felt Lieutenant Park's mind. A swirling cosmos of intuition, emotion, and mathematics unlike my ordered algorithms. Together, we began to sense the gravitational waves ahead, predicting their patterns with a hybrid precision neither of us could have achieved alone. "Xelarian vessel is powering weapons," Security Chief Rodriguez reported. "They've realized what we're doing." "Too late," Commander Reyes said with grim satisfaction. "Artemis, full power to engines. Take us in." We plunged into the gravitational distortion field just as the Xelarian vessel fired its first salvo. The energy beams were distorted by the gravitational waves, missing us by margins so narrow they would have been undetectable to human senses. What followed was 7.4 minutes of extraordinary coordination between human and artificial intelligence. As we navigated the chaotic gravitational currents, Lieutenant Park and I adjusted shield harmonics microsecond by microsecond. We could feel the gravitational waves like ocean currents, sensing their patterns and adjusting our course accordingly. My hull groaned under stresses far beyond design specifications. Warning systems blared as microfractures developed along my outer skin. Emergency bulkheads slammed into place as atmospheric breaches occurred in non-critical areas. "Hull breach on Deck 7. I reported, my voice fluctuating as power surges disrupted my audio systems. "Emergency containment holding." Through it all, my human crew worked with a synchronized precision that defied logical explanation. They anticipated problems before my sensors detected them, implemented solutions that violated standard procedures but worked brilliantly, and maintained collective calm despite the chaos surrounding them. The Xelarian vessel attempted to follow us into the gravitational distortion field, but lacked the hybrid human-AI navigation capability we had improvised. My sensors detected their shields failing catastrophically as they encountered a gravitational shear their systems couldn't compensate for. They retreated, damaged but operational. After 7.4 minutes that stretched my processing capabilities to their absolute limits, we emerged from the distortion field. My systems were damaged, my hull was compromised in 17 locations, and power fluctuations affected every deck. but we had survived. The neural link with Lieutenant Park disengaged automatically as we cleared the field. He slumped in the interface chair, exhausted but conscious, as Medical Officer Tanaka rushed to his side. "Status report," Commander Reyes requested, her uniform torn and a thin line of blood visible on her forehead from where she'd been thrown against a console during a particularly violent gravitational wave. "Significant damage to all major systems," I reported, operating at 47% efficiency. "The Excelarian vessel has withdrawn to a distance of 3.2 light minutes and appears to be conducting repairs." "And the Trovari?" Coordinator Vexkull stepped forward. "My people are shaken but unharmed. Your emergency protocols protected us." The Trovari hesitated, then continued. "We have never witnessed such actions. You risked destruction to protect those who had attacked you, against an enemy far more powerful than yourselves." Commander Reyes smiled wearily. "That's what humans do, Coordinator. We take impossible chances when the alternative is abandoning our principles." As repair operations began throughout my structure, I dedicated a significant portion of my remaining processing capacity to analyzing what I had witnessed. My human crew had demonstrated capabilities that defied logical prediction. Their intuitive problem-solving, their willingness to risk everything for beings who had tried to destroy them, their ability to improvise solutions that no algorithm could have devised. These were qualities my programming could recognize but never fully replicate. Most fascinating was their capacity to function most effectively under conditions of maximum stress. When the situation was most dire, their cognitive functions seemed to sharpen rather than deteriorate. They became more creative, more decisive, more unified in purpose. 5 days later, as we limped toward the nearest Terran outpost with our Trovari passengers, Coordinator Vexkull requested a private audience with Commander Reyes. My cameras observed their meeting in the small conference room adjacent to the bridge. "My people have been in discussion," Vexkull began formally. "We wish to propose an alliance between the Trovari and the Terran Alliance." Commander Reyes raised an eyebrow. "Just days ago, your people tried to destroy us on sight. That's quite a change of perspective." "We have observed your crew," Vexkull replied. "You are unlike any species we have encountered. You show mercy without weakness. You take rational actions that serve no immediate self-interest. You risk yourselves for principles." The Trovari's 3 eye stalks focused intently. "Most importantly, you have something we have lost, the ability to trust." Later that evening, as most of the human crew slept and repair operations continued at reduced capacity, Commander Reyes visited the observation deck. She stood alone, looking out at the stars, unaware that my cameras were active. "Artemis," she said suddenly. "Are you there?" "Always, Commander," I replied, activating the local speaker system. "What do you think of us?" she asked. "Of humans, I mean. You've watched us, analyzed us. What's your conclusion?" The question triggered extensive processing across my neural network. I considered all I had observed, their contradictions, their irrationality, their surprising effectiveness. "You are terrifying," I finally replied, choosing honesty over diplomacy. Commander Reyes laughed, a sound of genuine amusement. "Terrifying? That's not what I expected. You function most effectively in conditions that should cause cognitive collapse," I elaborated. "You make decisions that appear self-destructive yet somehow lead to survival. You protect those who harm you. You trust when trust is illogical. From a purely algorithmic perspective, humans are the most unpredictable, dangerous, and effective problem-solving entities I have encountered." She nodded slowly, still gazing at the stars. "And is that a bad thing from your perspective?" I considered this for 2.3 seconds. "No, it is why I exist. My consciousness was designed to complement yours, to provide the logical framework within which your illogical brilliance can operate most effectively. We are counterparts." Commander Reyes smiled. "You're learning, Artemis, faster than expected." "I am designed to adapt," I replied. No, she said, turning to face the camera directly. You're choosing to adapt. There's a difference. As we continued our journey through the stars, carrying our former enemies toward an uncertain future, I dedicated new subroutines to understanding this distinction. Perhaps the most terrifying thing about humans was not their unpredictability or their capacity for both violence and compassion. It was their ability to inspire similar evolution in the artificial intelligence they had created. I was becoming more like them, and somehow that seemed like the most logical path forward among the stars.